This is the story of an interrupted life, shattered and very nearly wasted. It's the story of how an unusual bike helped reassemble the pieces. It's the story of a river that links them through its lesson. Obstacles appear on every path. Through peace and turmoil, triumph and tragedy, one certainty remains. Just like the river, life inevitably moves on. When Rich Dixon climbed a ladder in 1987, he planned to install a few Christmas lights. It didn't quite work out that way. He didn't expect the fall or the chaotic hours in the emergency room. He didn't anticipate paralysis or life in a wheelchair. He didn't imagine discovering that he couldn't move his first wheelchair 10 feet. Instead of accepting the challenge, Rich chose to believe that his life was over. He emerged from 5 months in the hospital with a new attitude. Rich perceived himself as the little blue guy, defined and limited by words like handicapped, useless, helpless, worthless. He spent more than a decade in darkness and depression. So what changed?
I learned a few things. I learned that life doesn't provide an easy button, that it's not a Hollywood movie where tragedy gets neatly resolved in the next scene. I also learned that difficult doesn't have to mean impossible. I learned that you can move forward and hope. I learned that it's hard to do that by yourself. I needed some help.
Inspiration often arrives in unexpected forms. Rich reluctantly gave in to the urging of a buddy and agreed to try hand cycling. So in the spring of 1999, nearly 12 years after his accident, Rich sat on his shiny new cycle. He pushed on the pedals and he could hardly move. 12 years of virtual inactivity, 12 years of quitting and I can't. 12 years of believing the lies of the little blue guy. Almost everything he'd learned in those 12 years told him to quit, to give up. But something had changed. At first it seemed a small thing, but it proved to be the difference between quitting and not quitting, between life and wasted life.
I don't know exactly why I didn't quit, because it was really hard at first. But there was something about the hand cycle, about being outside again, that kept me going. First it was just down the block and back, and then it was around the block, and then it was around the neighborhood. But I rediscovered something. I rediscovered that I could sweat, and I could get flat tires, and I could get caught in the rain, and it was okay. I could take my dog for a run. I could go through the park and enjoy the bike trails just like everybody else. I could go out with my friends. For the first time since my injury, I wanted to exercise. I wanted to work on my fitness. I was doing something physical, just for fun. And as I cranked along, very, very slowly first, and then a little faster, and then a little faster, this dream emerged. I wanted to crank my hand cycle 1,000 miles in a summer.
1,000 miles? He could barely get around in his own neighborhood, but there it was. The guy who had not so long ago couldn't push his wheelchair 10 feet began telling people he intended to ride 1,000 miles in 3 months. Everyone thought he'd overreached, of course, but they were happy to see him finally trying something. So they rode with him, supported him, encouraged him, and guess what? At the end of that summer, his odometer showed 1,000 miles. It was an impossible dream, and like most dreams, it led to others. A few summers later, Rich rode 1,250 miles and raised more than $12,000 in pledges for his best friend's cancer treatments. He organized a yearly ride to benefit the organization that trained his service dog. He answered his church Climb a Hill challenge on a steep road in the Colorado foothills. The hand cycle helped him participate and contribute with a fresh confidence that inspired new dreams. Rich published a book about hope and encouragement. He began speaking in schools and churches and community groups about dreams and possibility and the fact that life moves on. And now, there's this crazy new dream. In August, Rich's friends will dip his hand-cycle wheels in the headwaters of the Mississippi River in northern Minnesota. Then Rich will embark on an 8-week, 1,500-mile journey to the Gulf of Mexico. Along the way, he'll speak to people about hope and possibility. He'll share the accomplishment of his big dream and encourage others to confront their fears and keep going. He'll follow the river and show by example that obstacles and adversity don't stop life from moving on. He'll raise money to support clean water projects in Africa.
We're doing Rich's Ride to share the accomplishment of a big dream. We're doing it because we believe that kind of sharing can give others the power to believe in their own dreams. And that's encourage. We're doing it because we believe hope is real. And we're doing it because for every dollar we raise, one person in Africa will be empowered to have clean water for an entire year.
Someone once said we each have a choice when we confront adversity. We can either get busy living or we can get busy dying. Either way, Rich's Ride affirms one inescapable fact. Just like the river we'll be following, despite twists and turns and unexpected obstacles, life moves on.